Hello and welcome to this Human Frequency special public service announcement. In our last episode, we discussed using the power of the mind to crash the housing market. Now, there are many reasons why the housing market is inflated. There are many ways that it's done, but we're focusing on what we can do to put an end to this madness so that everyone can have a home, because a home is not a luxury item. It's a necessity. It's a basic necessity for everyone.
Our goal is to have 1 million millennials meditating with us on September 11th, but you don't have to be a millennial to have been screwed by this scam housing market and to need a home. We all need homes, so anybody who wants to participate, we encourage you. And we're all going to do this for a few minutes. It only takes a few minutes using the power of the mind to focus on this visualization to crash the housing market. And we're going to do this on 9/11. We're going to take back that date. It doesn't have to be the parasite's day, it can be our day again. So we're working on this, and every day till then, we will also be meditating on crashing the housing market.
It really doesn't take that much.
No.
The mind is a very powerful thing. We've touched on this many times before in many different episodes, and it's going to be just a sweeping change that occurs, and it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen even in a couple of months probably, but by doing this consistently, it will happen, and we encourage you to, even after September 11th, to continue doing this meditation.
Right.
But September 11th will be kind of the culmination of this.
That's our target date, because I don't see why this has to be tragedy forever. You know, that was a horrible thing. That was the worst thing that ever happened to humanity. I mean, one of the worst. There's been many atrocities, but that was just one quick moment where thousands of people died in an instant. So we have this trauma associated with September 11th, and I know that they want it that way. But let's just start working on improving our world, and maybe that date has a significance other than just being a tragedy. Maybe it can be the date where we set the wheels in motion, that we can all live comfortably. If we work at jobs, we should all be able to have houses. We should all be able to have the basic necessities of life. It shouldn't be a struggle. So we are working on this meditation, and every day we've been doing this. We talked about it in more detail in the last episode. What we've been doing every day is just sitting with a visualization exercise, and you can literally do anything you want. It could be anything that means something to you. So for me, I'll sit back for just 5 minutes at a time, and I will think about those red down arrows and all the news stories saying housing prices in Los Angeles fell 30% in just 1 month, that kind of stuff. I'm imagining a total crash, and I'm visualizing it as clearly as I can in my mind. And then another one of my favorite things to visualize is actually that beautiful home that I'm going to have, that Gabriel and I are going to have, our nice little simple 2-bedroom house, just something comfortable to live in. I'm not visualizing luxury. I'm just visualizing a basic need taken care of, so we can focus on other things. What they want is they don't want us thinking about our spiritual lives. They want us just working and being slaves. They don't want us to have the time to do anything meaningful. So by keeping a necessity out of reach, we're just busy with that all the time, and we can't develop our minds. So every day I think about that perfect house, and I also visualize millennials everywhere, young families, people in their 30s with kids in comfortable houses. I visualize happy families all across the world enjoying the homes that they deserve.
And I visualize similar things. I see the red down arrows too. I see the talking heads on all the media stations just as baffled as they were 10 years ago, and assessing blame one way or the other. One side blaming Trump, the other side blaming socialist radicals or whatever.
I see a lot of blame of Trump, which is funny, because actually just go ahead and blame us, because we're setting the wheels in motion to crash this housing market, and you can all join us. It's just about the power of the mind, and there's one other aspect to it. So that's the higher dimensional. In the 3D, the most basic thing you can do is just boycott. Take your confidence out of this market, stop participating in it. If you have a house that's overvalued and you overpaid for it, get out now, sell it, because we're crashing it. There's nothing you can do. So, you know, I mean, it's not really just us doing this. This is a worldwide thing. I know we're not the only ones.
You're going to help us crash it too.
Exactly. And so take your confidence out of this market that deserves no confidence, because it's a scam, and boycott. Stay where you are, save up, and do it right, because to overpay for a house is a really stupid thing to do, because you're not going to be able to sell it again for years. You're going to be stuck with it because if it's worth $100,000 less than you paid for it, then you're going to owe the bank $100,000 that they invented anyway. So it's all fake.
And this is just what we do. So feel free to adapt it to suit your needs and your liking.
Right. What we've done is we've decided to continue renting until things simmer down a little bit. And that's just a very simple solution. I mean, rents are too high too, but that's just a simple solution to this problem. Now, the other day I had this revelation, and you may have already had this one yourself, because it seems obvious now that I thought about it. But we know the housing prices are too high. And we know that it's manipulated by the Federal Reserve. But what I just realized yesterday, in fact, was that the prices of the houses themselves are all completely fake and have been for a very long time. What happened was that somebody decided what price was out of everyone's reach, and almost everyone. And they set the housing prices at a certain price where no one could afford one. So pretty much everyone has to get a loan to get a house. Now, how did this happen? Well, the Federal Reserve manipulates housing prices by creating currency, so there's inflation, so your money is worth less and less. And the other thing that they do is they change interest rates. They're in charge of that. So when they are manipulating the interest rates, they're encouraging housing markets or discouraging. They can do what they want through inflation and through manipulating interest rates. And this has been done systematically over a very long period of time, to where now every house is priced to where no one can afford it. So we're forced to get loans. But is the house really worth that much? Let's say $300,000 for a family home, like a 3-bedroom house. Is it worth $300,000, or is it worth whatever that down payment on it was? That's what occurred to me the other day. Was I think the housing price is actually that 20% down payment. I think they're 80% overpriced, because if you've worked hard and you've saved that down payment, then you put it down on a house, you've worked very hard for that house. Then what are you paying for after that? We all live in houses. We are all living and doing our thing in houses and apartments and condos. And once you're in there, once you've put money on it, what are you paying for beyond that? That's that artificial amount that really doesn't exist. So therefore, that $300,000 house is worth about $60,000. And that's realistic. We're talking about materials and location. That's all it is. The material of the structure and where it is. Naturally, a house down the street from Trader Joe's is going to be worth more than one 60 miles from Trader Joe's. You know, that makes sense. But the prices are insane. And Peter Schiff recently said that the housing prices could come down as much as 70%. If that's the case, then I am correct.
Well, depending on location, but
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, 50, 60, 70%, but that's right in line with what you just discovered.
The revelation that the down payment is the price of the house and everything else is just the bank scamming you. So the Federal Reserve manipulated the prices through inflation and through interest rates. Now the prices are out of everyone's reach. And guess who is making that difference? Through the crime of usury. That's charging interest on money loaned. That's a sin, that's a crime, that's what the banks do, that's how they make their money. And it's all fake money that doesn't exist because they invent those numbers in a computer when they give you a loan. They're not really loaning you anything.
But you do not need to participate, because every con requires confidence. And if you remove your confidence, the con doesn't work anymore. It's as simple as that.
So when you hear on the news that the market crash is going to be bad for the economy and it's going to be bad for everyone, ask yourself, what do I have that's going to be affected by the crash? If you don't have a house and you don't have stocks, like most people I know, you're not affected. So remember, if the housing prices come down, then you can get a house. In my opinion, that's a good thing. If you overpaid for your house, this is a great time to get out. A lot of the economists do recommend that. And if you underpaid for your house and you bought it a long time ago, then you're very lucky you have a nice place to live. Housing is not an investment, it's a necessity.
That's right. And typically, the media will say one thing and the opposite is true.
Exactly.
And this is no different. This is just the inversion, and we're seeing it play out in this housing scam, which is what it is. And we're going to see this completely change. So, yeah, September 11th, that is the date where this all culminates. And if you're watching this and it's past September 11th, we encourage you to just do this anyway.
Yeah, we're going to keep doing this until it crashes. So every day, just take a few minutes. Help us out. Help us all out. This is not for us. We have a nice house we rent. We're happy where we live. As happy as we can be. I've looked into other places and I've realized everywhere sucks. So this is fine. But, I have a house. I'm comfortable. I'd like to buy a house one day when things are normal. But for now, I'm okay. And I think hopefully you're okay in your rental and you just want to eventually be able to buy a house. So just keep on putting your mindset towards that, towards the goal of bringing down prices to something reasonable. We encourage you to visualize for a few minutes every day that perfect home for your future and know that through imagining it, you will make it real. It's very, very potent. The power of prayer, the power of your imagination, you bring this forth. I've done it with jobs before. I've done it with all kinds of things where I've imagined it and it happened. So boycott it. Take your confidence out of this phony market. Sit tight. Do your best to enjoy where you live now, because very soon you'll be able to afford to buy your own.
And visualize thousands of other people who are in a similar situation as you are, doing the same thing and visualizing the same end goal. And it will happen.
Thank you so much for listening, and thanks for your participation and your open-mindedness towards this idea. I guarantee you YouTube will suppress this video, as they do with everything we do about the housing market. But it's all about us just collectively thinking this out together, praying together, meditating together, and visualizing this positive change. We will all have everything we need. There is no way it's not going to happen, because good people will be taken care of.
That's right. Thank you. And please check out our other episode if you haven't seen it already, and mark it on your calendar, September 11th. Any time of day you want to do it, go for it.
And check out our website, thekembo.com, to find out about our work with orgone energy and keep up with us. Thanks so much for listening.